Like, it's actually not that bad to understand damage calc too. Like, it's actually very simple. It's literally on a chart. Or not even a chart, like, it's literally on the Konami page. You can just read through them and, like, understand the majority of how damage calc works. Like, for example, the reason why, like, if you attack and activate Hayate's effect, right? If you attack directly with Hayate and activate Hayate's effect, can you or can you not droplet Hayate's effect? Or challenge Hayate's effect in response to Hayate's effect? Does anyone know? Okay, I'll explain why. The answer is no. You cannot activate droplets and you cannot activate challenge. But the reason why people would say yes is because a lot of people think, oh, damage step just means you can activate any modifiers, blah, 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 at any point in time. But the answer is no. And I'll tell you why it's no. And anyone who plays Striker and know anything about damage step will understand why you cannot.
Yes,
if you...
because it's an
let me pull up Hayate for you. And this is why you need to understand the damage step really well. And it's actually not complicated at all. I'll actually show you why. So Hayate says, after damage calculation, if this card battled, you can send one scatter card from your deck to the graveyard. Because this is after damage calculation, this goes past the point of which you can activate a modifier, right? Just think about it conceptually. After damage calc means you have already performed damage calculation. You have calculated the damage you are supposed to take. You're supposed to take the damage you're supposed to take. You know, so like I do, like you attack into like Bean Soldier, which is 1400. You've performed damage calculation, which is 100 points of damage. And now that after damage calculation, the card is battle, so you activate the effect. So you cannot activate droplets at this point in time to negate. So when do you droplets? Well, the answer is you droplet Hayate in damage step in the before damage calculation. So before you perform damage calculation is when you activate droplets. So you have to do it in the before damage calculation. But that's within the damage step, right? There's like main subsets you need to know. Yep. Yeah, bro, I'll literally show you. So like damage step, Konami. Yugioh. I don't know. There's probably some sort of. They literally have a page for this. It's actually insane. Look at this. Start of the damage step, before damage calc, perform damage calc, after damage calc, end. So damage after damage calc is when Hayate triggers. Effects that can activate that would modify attack or defense activates in before damage calc. That's what I was talking about. Okay? This is what I'm talking about. You can do it at the start of the damage step as well. But before damage calculation is... No, attack declaration is the battle step. So that's the battle step. The attack declaration of a monster is considered the battle step. Not the damage step. That's like the process of you trying to battle, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's really not that bad. It literally tells you like cards or effects that modify attack defense can activate in before damage calculation. If you think about it and try not to complicate it too much, it makes sense. Before I calculate how much life points I'm supposed to take, I can activate cards that would modify the attack or defense of the cards I'm attacking into. Before I would actually calculate how much I'm supposed to take, right? After you activate your modifiers, then you just calculate the difference, which is perform damage calculation, right? You determine that the monster would be destroyed or not. And then after that, you go to after damage calc. It's the same reason why, like, it's actually insane. Like, you cannot, like, droplets, like, Wendy's effect. You know that? If you attack into a Squamata face down, with like a random ass monster, you cannot droplets Squamata's effect. In response to Squamata's effect, you have to droplet it once it gets flipped up. But anyways, that was like a quick explanation of the damage step. I can probably like literally explain this, to be honest. It's really not that bad, guys. I promise you. Like I literally memorized this, like, because it's not even like memorized. It's just like conceptually, when you break it down to like and try to keep it just simple. And what makes sense? It's really not that bad. I promise.
Oh, okay. Then
now, people make it they overcomplicate it. They be saying like because of this and this. I'm like, bro, it's just modifiers happen before you calculate damage. You calculate damage. After you calculate damage, these things happen. Boom. End of damage step. But like usually what I do is the decks that like those type of interactions comes up in. So like if you play a deck in which those type of interactions comes up in, I would suggest just refreshing yourself on it. For example, if you decide to play Striker, if I decide to go tomorrow to my locals and I'm like, damn, I kind of want to play Sky Striker. I want to pull a Ryan Yu and cook some bozos. Well, the first thing I'm like, okay, let me make sure I brush up on my, you know, on my damage step stuff, right? So, like, I would just go back through this chart and just understand, like, all the stuff about it, right? And then, boom. I'm still confused how Brotar works. Brotar would activate... Brotar activates at the end of the damage step. But you cannot chalice Brotar when it comes back at the end of the damage step. Does it make sense? You're low-key matchup for Yugioh. Yo, I appreciate that, Kojak. So, like, you can't chalice... Like, think about it conceptually. End of the damage step. The monster you attacked into died. Okay? Is dead. Brotar's like, oh no, I want to come back. I want to reborn myself. My monster died. My boy died. Okay? Brotar comes back. It doesn't make sense to be able to activate Chalice to try and modify a monster when the damage step has already been done. Like, not really. See what I'm saying? So, like, end of the damage step after damage calculation. Yeah. End of the damage step happens after damage calculation, but end of the damage step is usually stuff that activates when, like, a monster is destroyed by battle or something like that. So, like, an example would be, like, Brotar. One of your monsters is destroyed by battle. Brotar summons itself back at the end of the damage step. And then, like, you can't Ash Brotar in because it's still at the end of the damage step. You can't Chalice it because you can't modify attack or defense of something. Does it make sense? Ray or Rose? What do you mean? Yeah, Ray or Rose also activates... Ray or Rose activates at the end of the damage step. That's why, like, if you think about how... If you understand how Hayate works, it actually helps you understand the damage step like crazy. But if, like, Hayate says after damage calc, send out a Strike Striker card from deck to grave, and the end of damage step is when, like, stuff like Rose or Ray, whatever, would trigger. So if you understand how, like, so that's why Striker is such a good deck, because it teaches you so much about, like, Yugioh. So I'm glad I played. I played Striker for a little bit before. Any good videos that explain the damage steps as battle damage shot? I don't know. I didn't really watch any videos, to be quite honest. I literally just did this, bro. You guys want the goo? You want the goo? Here it is. Open this website and just read. This is the goo right here. No cap. I probably should just make a video on this, to be honest. I probably will. That would actually just make sense. This is what I did, bro, to learn. I googled it and I read. I'm like, oh shoot, this actually makes sense. I can't read. Sag. Yeah, I'll probably make a video on this, to be honest. And I'll give, like, I think the best is probably, like, giving, like, meta examples, because I think, like, people will probably, like, relate to that stuff more. Like, I think, like, for example, most people understand, like, what Hayate is, you know, like, and stuff like that. So that'll probably be the best. So what are you looking from Sword Soul? So if Hayate crash, it will activate effect before getting destroyed, correct? So yeah, so I can explain how Hayate works. So if Hayate is attacking to a 1500 monster, let's follow this real quick, okay? Before damage calculation, you have the, like, this will, I'll explain this. Okay, this is a great one. So I have Hayate, and then my opponent has a, what's the 1500 attack monster in the game? Helki Fibrax. They have a Helki Fibrax, okay? Your opponent has Fiber, you have Hayate. You go Fiber, attack, you go Hayate, attack, Fiber. Okay? Start of the damage step now. We enter the start of the damage step. Before damage calculation, do you have anything? Do you have Chalice? Do you have Chalice? And then a Helki is 15. Do you have Chalice? Do you have Dropless? Yes? No? Question mark? Okay, none. Now you do perform damage calc. It's 15 minus 15, so neither player takes any points of damage. It's important to know that during the perform damage calculation, all you do is calculate life points. Like how much life points you would take, how much damage you would take. But you do not actually send the monster to the graveyard yet. You're just performing the damage calculation. Literally in the text, you're just performing damage calc right now, guys. That's all you do, okay? There's other effects and stuff like that that activates too, but yada yada. Okay, then you have after damage calc now, okay? You determine that you'll take 0 points of damage because it's 15 minus 15. Now, Hayate has an effect that says it would activate in the after damage calculation, and that effect is to send any Sky Striker card from the deck to the graveyard. The card that I will choose to send is Ray. Okay, Ray's Bay. So I'm gonna send Ray. Okay. The monster Hayate is still not considered destroyed. It's considered to be destroyed, if it's supposed to be destroyed, but it's still not yet sent to the graveyard. It says it right here. It literally says it right here. Now you go to end of the damage step, okay? The monster that is determined to be destroyed is now dead. Sag, Hayate died. And any effect that would activate when a monster is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard activates now. Well, what would activate in this position? Well, Ray would activate because your Hayate died. Hayate dead, Sag, but Ray triggers. Ray then comes back, revives herself back from the graveyard, and comes back. And that's basically what happens when Hayate attacks into a 1500 monster. Boom. You can also send Rose. So in the same example, you can also send Rose. If they summon a Hulk in the EMZ, and you send Rose, you can actually trigger Rose to come back and negate a card as well. You know? So, yep. That's it. Does that make sense? I hope that was I hope that made sense. Yeah, it's not too bad. Like I'm telling you, this chart will literally like help you. And once you do more examples and more examples with other examples using this chart, you'll literally like internalize it to a point where you're just like, okay, I remember now. I remember now. I remember now. Could you also trigger? You could trigger Ray and Rose, yeah, at the same time. And Ray and Rose also come back. No, it doesn't come back in a different chain. Actually, it comes back in the same chain. And the reason is because they're both trigger effects, okay? So that's not necessarily true. If you have Ray and Rose in the graveyard, and you attack into Helki Firebrax and you know, it died, you'll be able to go Chainlink 1 Ray or Chainlink 2 Rose or Chainlink 1 Rose, and then because they're trigger effects that happen simultaneously, Seagawk, you can basically organize the chain in any order you like because they're happening simultaneously. Can you Crow or Bell during the end of damage step? You can Bell during the end of the damage step because you can negate the activations of stuff during the damage step at any point in time. You can negate the activation. If a card says negate the activation, you can legally attempt to activate that card at any point during the damage step at any time. But you cannot Crow during the end of the damage step because Crow is a quick effect. It's a fast effect that does not negate the activation of stuff. Or modify attack or defense. So it's a no. No for Crow, yes for Bell. But does MSC negate Kappa? Yeah. Shedding SC. Yeah, so you can't call by Ray in this situation, Sag. Yeah, you can't. You have to call by before you attack. That's why if you see me play, sometimes you would preemptively Crow Ray before, like on the attack declaration during the battle step of when you attack, you declare an attack into their Hayate. You can Crow their Ray, but you probably shouldn't do it on attack declaration because what if they have Call by the Grave in your Crow and then the attack goes through, they bring back Ray and they cook you. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. I mean, this is just like, yeah, this is not too bad, guys. I promise. It's really not too bad.